So, I wanted to talk about wisdom a little bit and what we are cultivating by aligning body, energy, and mind. Realize over time that this is a cultivation practice. When we're doing energy work, breathing work, qigong, movements, what are we cultivating? We're not just cultivating, a body that looks good. Body is not separate from mind, and mind is not separate from energy. It's this interdependent and interdynamic movement that is going on. So what's being cultivated? What we see is there are three characteristics that's unfolding. One is that as we observe the breath and as we observe the body, we see everything is in this constant flux of movement, constant flux of change. Nothing is still. That includes even the mind itself. As thoughts are occurring again and again, you have no control over it. It's arising spontaneously. The body, the rhythms of the heart, the blood flowing through it, the heartbeat, the toes, the fingers, it's always moving. These elements are not separate from the earth. And then this breath and this rhythm is always there. And this breath is always moving in sync with the body. And even that, there's various other forms of the movement of the breath and energy. This upward flowing breath up the spine, this downward flowing breath that flows into the legs, this balancing breath in the abdomen, this forward moving wind in the arms and the shoulders that bring forth and create like a warrior or like a chisel trying to create or manifest something. And this outward flowing wind too that holds the whole space together, the space-like quality. So these three characteristics I wanted to touch. The first one is impermanence, that everything is changing. Everything is in a constant state of movement. That nothing is fixed, nothing is still. Once we see that, we realize a lot of our suffering is based on wanting things to be fixed or still. So that's that. This next characteristic is suffering. So first we have impermanence. Two, we have the origin of suffering, which is that we want things to be fixed. We have an attachment towards things that we think should be a specific way, or it could be an attachment towards pleasure, and we have an aversion towards pain. So we don't want to receive this pain, or we don't want to see these things that make us feel uncomfortable because we may have an aversion towards it. And because our mind has this involuntary pull or push, equanimity is not stabilized, and so we suffer. This is just basic suffering. Is basic Buddhist psychology of viewing attachments and aversions so that we can understand the nature of suffering based on, say, attachments and aversions. So we had a teacher in India, Asang Goenkaji. He said that the only measuring stick along this practice is equanimity. I would say I've not found anything that can contradict that. That seems very valid, that equanimity can be used as a huge measuring stick, and that's equanimous between attachments and aversions. Because if we want things to be fixed, and when it's not fixed, because it's not, everything is flowing, then we suffer. We want our relationships to be exactly like how we want them to be. We want it to be like in the movies or the books. We want our bodies to be like this person in the magazine. If you're suffering, it means you're not okay with things how they are. And this whole practice is this cultivation of wisdom, which breaking this, what wisdom is down into three characteristics. First, impermanence. Second, suffering. Okay. The third characteristic of wisdom is once one understands suffering and you've experienced it directly, you can cultivate compassion. This compassion is a direct experience that everything that you experience is not separate from you. It is interdependent, interrelated. And out of this compassion, since there is no separateness, it is empty of independent existence. Now, this is, I have got people who will, rolling in the grave for me discussing emptiness. I have no qualifications to teach emptiness, but I'm sharing generally, this is what it means. Empty of independent existence, empty of inherent existence, that nothing exists inherently from its own side. If everything is interdependent and interconnected, I cannot say blame or anger resides here and I am right here. These are just concepts, and as soon as I label me and other, I've already created separation and dualistic notions. So this third characteristic is characteristic of emptiness and compassion. Hand in hand, we're understanding what emptiness is, even empty of a separate self, selflessness, that everything is interdependent and interconnected. And through this wisdom, these three characteristics of impermanence, suffering, and emptiness, we can cultivate this compassion. Wisdom, compassion are a perfect marriage for each other to mold and blend. So this unity in the body, wisdom, compassion, that's what we're cultivating. Thank you.